Another good win, and good to see our team really, I think, play our most complete game of the year. Good to see a lot of guys get a chance to play. I think we're growing as a team. It's one of the big objectives for me, as we kind of entered the second quarter, if you will, of our season today, is to get some guys some experience. You saw us play a lot of guys early, roll some guys in. Defensively, we had a lot of guys out today. Battle obviously was out, and Stefano was out, and Hot Rod went out early. Beasley probably could have gone back in there, but he was still a little gimpy, so we were trying to hold him if we could, just play him if we had to. Martavis was out the first half, so I mean, just to see guys continue to perform well. Norton had to get an IV. Guillermo had to get an IV. They've been battling kind of a little bug, but just see guys going in and playing and mixing and matching and still performing at a high level was probably the thing I was most proud of. It's what I talked about at halftime. A lot of guys are going to get a chance to play. The standard doesn't change. Take pride in your performance, and it was good to see a bunch of guys go in there and continue to play at a high level for us. So, defensively, we're playing some good football right now. That team is always tough to scheme against with what they do, and held them to 7 points, less than 2 yards per carry, third down, 2 of 14. And at halftime, we hadn't gotten a turnover, and that was one of our objectives in the second half, was create a turnover. We got 2 of them. And again, just a lot of guys getting a lot of opportunity, and that just makes your team better. Special teams, I thought we did an outstanding job on punt return today, did an outstanding job on punt. Pinion averaged about 44 yards a punt. And that's a weapon for us. When you're playing good defense and you're taking care of the ball, I know sometimes people get frustrated when you punt the ball, but 44 yards is a long way to go, and field position is a big part of the ball game. And when you got a good defense that's holding people to 2 of 14 on third down, that's a winning formula. So I love the fact that our team is doing a good job of taking care of the ball. Offensively, Taj, became the career total offense leader. Only the second guy ever in the ACC. I think only he and Phillip Rivers to have 100 touchdowns in their career. So really just a great accomplishment. But the record that I'm most proud of is the all-time record for consecutive passes without an interception. I think he's at 166. That's how you win games. And so just really hats off to Taj. Offensively, I thought we got in rhythm today. And it was good to see. I just thought we had really good focus. We cleaned up a few things and executed very well all day, and that's what it comes down to. Wake hadn't given up but 7 touchdowns all year, and I think we had 8 today. So tremendous job by those guys. It's good to see a lot of guys come in and play. I mean, Cole Stout comes in, goes 10 for 11 again. Mike Williams gets his first start, his first touchdown, went down and made a nice play for us. He is an outstanding young player. C.J. Davidson got his first touchdown. Leggett had a couple big plays. He had his first touchdown. Great to see healthy DJ, show the speed that he's got. I thought it was a huge play in the game. They kind of busted it open there early. And Sammy Watkins, just showed up early. Very solid game. Another 100-plus yard game for him in his career. So, again, just an outstanding day. For our team, a very, very complete game in all phases. But I'm sure there'll be a lot of things that we can learn and correct in this tape. But we'll enjoy this one tonight and get ready to get back on the road, go up to New York and play Syracuse.
Dabo, you could have hardly scripted that first sequence of the game any better. I mean, you get, the big play from Sammy and Taj, and then a 3 and out, get the ball right back to them. Did you just feel that rhythm sort of happening?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was scripted. That's one of the things we do. We always have our openers, and it's great when you can just go right through the openers and they work. You stay on schedule, and it worked beautifully. And so we get the score, and then we come right back and get right back on our script, and just kept executing. And I can't say enough for our players and our coaches for the job they did. I thought we had great practice. I thought we had really good energy, good intensity, and good focus this week. Offensively, our guys, even though we've done a lot of good things, I felt like they really had a great drive to them this week to really get on track and execute a little bit better. So had a couple of miscues, had a couple of 3-and-outs in a row where we had a few miscues, bad snap, missed a read, just a couple of little things. But for the most part, they did a tremendous job. And Wake is an odd front. They do a lot of different things, and so communication against these guys is really critical. And I thought they did an outstanding job. Shaq Anthony's in there getting a start. Guillermo goes in there. We had a lot of guys get a chance to play, and I thought they performed well for 4 quarters.
Looking back, you think the fact that the offensive starters went from August 31st to the NC State game with just a couple of series, you think that had a pretty big effect on the rhythm? Coach Morris seems to think that.
I don't know. I think the biggest thing is we just missed a few plays, and whether it was Taj or some other guy, it really just comes down to execution. And doing things that you do on the practice field all the time, and maybe that's a little bit, but we really didn't have all of our starters out there today. It was a very different group out there, but I think Taj Boyd played his best game. I thought he was very dialed in, executed very well, and it was just a real focus on each play to execute the play, and a good sense of urgency from our guys for 4 quarters. But we've had a little different schedule. I think that's been a little unique for us, but. It's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to roll out there and roll up 573 yards. You're going to have some hard-fought games. That's probably what I like about our team the most. We're 4-0, and we got 2 really, really, bloodbath-type wins where you got to battle and handle some adversity and dig down in critical situations with Georgia, and then going on the road in that environment on a Thursday night. And all those things are good for your team. And, you win the game by 12 points, and some people out there I don't guess are happy, but I'll take 10 more just like that game up there at NC State. It wasn't perfect, but this was another day, and we played good today, and we just got to try to play good again next week. It's really all, not overthink this and that and why. The bottom line is let's execute. Let's everybody be dialed in, 11 guys doing their job, and if you do and you play within the system, then we got a good chance to be successful.
You're only a third of the way through the season, but looking at what the offense and defense are doing right now and your tenure here, does this have the potential to be the most balanced team you've coached here? When you the ball?
Oh, there's no doubt. This is the most complete team that we've had. We were pretty good on defense in 2009, but we had a freshman quarterback, and so we had to kind of grow through that a little bit. But we scored a bunch of points that year, but we didn't really. We were learning how to win. That was a whole different time in our program. And then we transitioned a little bit personnel wise in 10. 11 really young, really young. Kind of starting over defensively last year and in the trenches offensively. So I definitely think this is our most complete team. I think it's our deepest team that we've had. But when you can win on defense, win on special teams, win on offense, then you got a chance to be pretty good. And that's where I think we are right now. I think that we're a team that can win, and we don't always have to play great on offense. We got to play okay, but we don't have to play great because I think we can make a difference in the game in special teams. We can make a difference in the game defensively, and vice versa. And that's a good thing. Good teams find different ways to win in critical situations. So right now, we've found a way to win 4 games. I think we're improving as a team, but we're nowhere near playing our best football yet. Hopefully our best football is still to come.
Defensively,
Go ahead.
Defensively, did you guys have to guard against overthinking things because they've got a history for just doing so many different kinds of things?
No. We study what they do. They've in the games that they've played this year, they've kind of changed philosophies a little bit from one week to the other, where they run a lot of option one week, not as much option the next week. So from that standpoint, there was a lot to cover and a lot to get ready for. But at the end of the day, it's about knowing your system and being able to execute it. There's only some trips is trips. 2x2 is 2x2. However they get to it. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to apply your system. And I just think we're smarter. Guys are more in position where they need to be. We tackled pretty good today. And, we're much more competitive on the back end as far as competing for balls. And then defensive line-wise, we've got some good players up there that cause problems. And that's where we are.
How big was it for you guys to get the third play to Sammy there, a big chunk play? That seemed like it took some pressure off. It wasn't something you guys had since maybe the Georgia game.
Well, they're very aggressive at corner, and that was an early call for us and scripted as an early call was because of number 7 and number 9. I mean, they're very aggressive and they will jump things. It was a little double move by Sammy. The corner actually did a pretty good job, but Sammy did a great job of running through the collision because that's how you teach the DBs to collision those guys on those double moves, and he actually did a pretty good job. But Sammy was just strong and was able, he forced him out. He was able to run through it and get back on track, and Taj did an excellent job of keeping the ball in bounds where Sammy could go get it. So and we had a couple other opportunities I wish we could have hit on, but that was a huge play for us. And again, that's why we scripted it, because we felt like that we had an opportunity. But and even if you don't hit it, you send a message, as far as, hey, we're gonna take some shots. And I thought, and then we had another one later in the game where we ended up getting a pass interference. We felt like it was going to be a one-on-one competitive situation, and we ended up getting the PI on that one. And that's when you put Sammy out there one-on-one, more times than not, good things are going to happen.
Coach, talk a lot about depth. Different players getting a lot of different looks, especially talk about the running backs. You got a lot of production, and especially in wake of Ronnie McDowell, he hobbled off, and he kind of updates on that front too. Yeah, he wore number 19 today, and I guess he wanted to honor Sharon and get hurt too. So, that's what I told him. But Sharon was over there having some fun with him. But he rolled his ankle. He'll be okay. But we got good depth. Zach Brooks came in there, and he ended up getting a little banged up too. But Zach did an excellent job. DJ, like I said, it's good to see him kind of hitting his stride. And then CJ Davidson, as he continues to really learn the big picture of playing this position, he's going to be a good football player. He's a little different than those other guys, and I think brings a good dimension to us. So it's good to see him get a little more action today.
Martin Jenkins' shoulder?
Yeah, just, that's kind of a every other week deal with him. It pops out at least once every other week, and it's very, very painful. But he is one of the toughest players I've ever been around. So it's one of those deals you pop it back in and suit him back up and go. So he was good. Could have gone back in, but we held him, but he was leading the dance in the locker room, so he looked pretty good.
Secondary depth, I mean, is that just going to be a week-to-week thing, just trying to figure out? You talked last week about trying to find some more depth.
Yeah, I think you saw early. I mean, Taylor Watson rolled in there early. Curse rolled in there early. It's really more at safety than any position where we've got to grow our depth. We have good players. They're just all young. And, we got to just put them on the field and let them play. They're not going to get any better standing on the sideline. So that was the objective for me today, was to get those guys in there early. Robert and Travis are doing a great job, but it's hard for those guys to play 70, 80 snaps. For the course of the season, they're not going to be able to hold up. And it's not fair to all of a sudden have to throw a guy out there and doesn't have the experience. So we just kind of made the decision that we're going to play them. We're going to roll them. We're going to play them. And I thought Curse did a good job. I thought Taylor Watson went in there and did his job. I'm anxious to see the tape. But J-Ron has practiced well. He's got tons of range and upside, and as he plays, he's just going to continue to get better. We got Gohagen and Cordray in there late in the game, but we've got to develop the depth at safety because we've had pretty much two guys. We've had a pretty good rotation at corner, and I think we can continue to have that. And all those guys are playing well, but safety is where we got to get some guys some experience.
I think you said early in the season after the first game it wouldn't be until the 4th or 5th week that you got a real handle on this team and its capability. What have you learned, I guess?
Well, I like our experience. That's probably the biggest thing. That was my message to the team last night. I mean, I like the makeup of our team. I think we've got a really good experienced group that's been around here for a while, that's not really overwhelmed with or caught up in, whatever somebody's ranking us or people talking about you on ESPN. I remember a couple years ago in 11, we were so young. And, we jump out, we go to 8-0, fifth in the country, and it was almost like your first trip to Disney World, and all you do is walk around and go, wow, this is really cool, wow. And we just kind of lost our focus. Whereas this team, the experience that we have, I just think they're very dialed in, and I think they get it. I think they understand. And that's probably the thing that I've been most pleased with is the leadership. It's one thing to have good leadership. It's another thing when your leadership is very experienced and they can draw on that experience. That's what I like about this team more than anything. We got good depth at a lot of key spots, offensive line, defensive line in particular. We got a quarterback who's a great leader. We got good skill. Guys are playing hard. We're growing up on both sides and complimenting each other in all three phases. But just the fact that they've kind of all been there, the majority of these guys, and the young guys that are playing that don't have the experience, our older guys are doing a good job with those guys. So, 4 games into it, that's what I really like about these guys. The focus, their preparation. I'm really glad that we can get some continuity as far as playing on some Saturdays. I mean, we've sat at the house 2 Saturdays already. Kind of missed that today, but it's good to be able to get in a rhythm as far as our preparation and start putting some of these weeks together, because I think that'll help us continue to stay focused.
2 takeaways today and no turnovers, and you guys were a top 10 team in the turnover margin coming in. How critical has that been to the success?
Well, it's part of our plan to win. Our plan to win starts with great effort. Great effort, and the other part of that is to win the turnover margin. And then we got to have at least 2 more big plays than the opponent. We got to make a difference in special teams. We got to not have missed assignments. We got to be the least penalized team. Those are things that are very measurable for us. That's our kind of what we call our plan to win that we talk about as a team all the time. But the 2 that are the biggies are the turnover margin and the big plays. And if you win the turnover margin and you got at least 2 more big plays than your opponent, I mean, it's almost like 90% that you're going to win the game. So it's critical. And that's been the difference for us. That was the difference in the Georgia game. Two teams battling hard-fought game. We win that turnover margin. That was a big difference maker for us.
Will Isaiah play next week?
What's that?
Isaiah, will he play next week?
Yeah, he'll be back.
You mentioned you take the grind out wins every day of the week against NC State, like what happened last week, but how significant are blowout wins against league opponents? And what's the most significant part? Is the guys playing? Yeah. The confidence built? What is it about blowout?
All the above. All the above. You build the depth. Guys get to play. Guys deserve to play. They get an opportunity to go out there and show that they can compete and continue to perform at a high level. They get to show that they've been paying attention in the meetings and on the practice field. You develop that confidence, that team morale. All of those things are great. When you can play a lot of guys, just a great opportunity. You see Daniel Rodriguez out there. He's really had a great camp for us and is a solid backup guy. It's great to see him be able to get out there and make some plays and get those other quarterbacks in there and all those linemen and backers and safeties and corners and get some guys mixed in on special teams. Ammon Lakeup being able to go out there and get some experience. I mean, that's priceless. We only got 10 scholarship seniors on this team, so we're not going to lose a lot of guys for next year, but we do have some key guys that will be gone that we're going to have to replace, like a Catanzaro. So every chance I can get Lakeup some experience, that will pay off for us down the road.
Anything else? Try to get Daniel that touchdown next game.
Oh, man. We tried. Told him he was a little bit taller. He said that he was just being unselfish and wanted to give it up for his teammate. I can't remember who scored. Who was it? Yeah, was that CJ on that one? Okay. Yeah. All right, thanks, guys.